All right, Iowa takes on Rutgers, 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff on Sunday, January 8th, 2023. Rutgers is -5, totals 140.5. And if you like Iowa in an upset win on the road here, they're +$2 for some money line cash. Now, if you want to see which one of these free picks on my videos that I'm actually betting on personally, you may want to think about signing up for a membership on my website. I'll include a link for that page in the description section below. Now, the Hawkeyes lost 3 out of their last 4 ball games, and they allowed an absurd amount of points during that span. When it comes to rebounding the basketball, the Hawkeyes are toward the bottom of the Big Ten in defensive boards. They're facing a Rutgers team who does a nice job grabbing offensive boards themselves. Meanwhile, as a team, the Scarlet Knights have won their last 5 straight. They covered the point spread in 8 out of their last 10. Now, when it comes to offensive production, Cliff Amorie is the team leader in points and rebounds. He's actually 15th in the nation right now in rebounds per contest. And of course, sharpshooting Cam Spencer, he makes over 44% of his three-pointers, and he's also making nearly 97% of his free throws. Now, injury-wise, the Scarlet Knights are fairly healthy at the moment. No real significant scratches right now to report to you. And when it comes to Iowa, Ogundele is questionable. McCaffrey is out. Now, when it comes to the total, Iowa saw unders against the likes of Nebraska, Iowa State, and Duke. Meanwhile, Rutgers went 6-3 to the under in their last 9 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Rutgers -5, under 140.5. Next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Northwestern squaring off against Indiana, and that'll be a 12 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Indiana Hoosiers are -6, totals 133. And even though the Hoosiers are at home here, they've had a tough time covering the number here recently. They failed to cover in their last 5 straight, and they're struggling from the foul line. The Hoosiers are making only 69% of their free throws. They're also facing a Northwestern team who's playing some really good basketball at the moment. These guys got the W in 6 out of their last 7. Victories against the likes of Illinois, DePaul, and Michigan State. They're also one of the toughest defensive teams in the country. They're allowing only 57 points a game, and they also have the 3rd lowest defensive field goal percentage in the nation. When it comes to offensive production, Chase Audige, he's scoring over 15.5 points a game, and he's also making 86% of his free throws. And of course, the best name in the game, Boo Buie, he's scoring 13 points a night himself, along with 3 boards for assists. Now, total-wise, Northwestern saw their last 3 straight stay under the number, 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, Indiana saw unders against the likes of Kennesaw State, Rutgers, and North Carolina. I'm going to lean toward Northwestern +6, under 133. Next contest, it is going to be Ohio State taking on Maryland, 1 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Ohio State's -1.5, totals 140 and a hook. Now, the Buckeyes are scoring over 80 points a game, and they're making nearly 50% of their field goals. When it comes to grabbing boards, these guys are a top 25 offensive rebounding team. Now, Zed Key, he's grabbing over 7.5 rebounds a night. He's also averaging a dozen points. Now, keep an eye on his status. He has been battling through some injuries, so if you're firing on this game, definitely keep an eye on his status before tip-off. Now, Bryce Sensabaugh, he scores 16 points a game, and he's drilling 45% of his three-pointers. Now, they're facing a Maryland team who's struggled in conference play. These guys lost their last 3 straight against Big Ten competition, and in their last 7 contests versus any opponent, the Terps took the loss 5 times. Now, offensively, Maryland's been little threat shooting from long range. These guys are draining only 31% of their 3 balls. When it comes to the injury report, the Terps are relatively healthy at the moment. Now, for Ohio State on the other side, like I said, Zed Key is a little banged up with that shoulder. Keep an eye on him. McNeil is also questionable as well. When it comes to the total, Ohio State saw unders against the likes of Northwestern, Rutgers, and Cincinnati. Meanwhile, Maryland went 80% to the under in their last 10. Give me Ohio State -1.5, under 140 and a hook. Next matchup, it is going to be Houston taking on Cincinnati, 3 o'clock Eastern start time. Houston's a 10-point favorite. Total's 134. Now, I do really hate this number in a conference game on the road. The Cougs already failed to cover against the likes of UCF, NCAAT, and Alabama. They're also facing a Cincy team on the other side who plays some pretty good defense themselves. They're allowing only 68 points per contest, and they're limiting their competition to just 32% shooting from three-land. When it comes to offensive production, David DeJulius scores 15.5 points a game. He's also drilling just about 40% of his shots from downtown. Now, Landers Nolley, he makes 41% of his three-pointers. He's also scoring nearly 15 points a game himself. And when it comes to the total in this one, 4 out of Cincinnati's last 5 stayed under the line. Meanwhile, Houston went 6-3 to the under in their last 9. I'm going to lean towards Cincinnati plus 10, under 134. Next matchup, Purdue, Penn State, 6 o'clock Eastern start time. Purdue's the 6-point favorite. Total's 136. Now, Purdue's been one of the worst covering teams in the nation. They failed to cover in 8 out of their last 9. And they're little threat shooting it from three-land. The Boilermakers are making only 31% of their three-pointers. They're also facing a Penn State team who plays some pretty good defense themselves. These guys allow only 66 points a game. They're also limiting their competition to just 40% shooting from the field. When it comes to offensive production, Seth Lundy, he's drilling nearly 41% of his three-pointers, and he's also scoring 13 points a night. Meanwhile, Jalen Pickett, he's averaging a team-high 17 points a game. Now, total-wise, Penn State went 4-1 to the over in their last 5. Meanwhile, Purdue saw overs against the likes of Ohio State, Minnesota, and Florida State. I'm going to lean toward Penn State plus 6 over 136. And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into our quick pick recap. I like Rutgers minus 5 under 140.5. Give me Northwestern plus 6 under 133. New Hampshire plus 9 under 124. And if you find yourself enjoying this video here today, please feel free to smash that heart button. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to give me a follow. I'd love to connect with you on a daily basis. Give me Bucknell plus 2 over 130.5. Holy Cross minus 1 under 129 and a hook. Wichita State plus 3 under 129. Wright State minus 4 over 153. Eastern Kentucky plus 11 over 140. Bryant minus 5 over 157.5. Siena minus 4 under 138. St. Peter's minus 2 under 130. Quinnipiac plus 7 over 146. Mount St. Mary's minus 1 over 126. Niagara minus 2 under 129. Lehigh plus 10 over 138. UCF minus 9 over 129.5. American minus 4 over 126. Northern Kentucky minus 5 over 134. Maine minus 7 under 133. UMass Lowell minus 9.5 over 140 and a hook. Cincinnati plus 10 under 134. Arizona State minus 9 over 137. And with my next and final free pick, I'm going to lean toward Penn State plus 6 over 136.